And that was how I finally got the LJN figure out of her ass.
Oh, hey guys. Hey, welcome to Crooked Bridge Wrestling Channel or Wrestling Podcast, where we talk all things wrestling and everything that's going on in the wrestling world. Today, I have a special guest who's also the co-host of the show, Dan Classic.
Yes, that's me. Hey kids, it's me, your old pal Dan Classic. And I'm here on this show, the Crooked Bridge Wrestling Podcast. We're going to be talking about the AEW today. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the main topic. And we're going to do, this is the first episode, hopefully.
Very first episode of many to
and
come.
Hopefully not the last of this podcast. Going to be discussing professional wrestling in general and other shit too. And so you didn't introduce yourself. Who the fuck are you?
Oh, that's right. I'm Brian Castillo, a.k.a. Brian the Mark.
There you go.
I mark out all the time. I'm not going to lie. Anytime if Stone Cold came out in a walker, I'd be like, I fucking love you, I'm the man. So I have a special place in my heart for all the old wrestlers, and you know, it's hard for me to turn away from WWE, even though I fucking hate a lot of the things that they've done to some of the wrestlers that I've watched in their careers as they progress. But having said that, I mean, it's WWE, you know, it's hard to turn away from something I've been watching since I was a child. And having said that, I am extremely excited to see Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, you know, Tony Khan, and that organization take shape finally after that event that we watched on Thursday night, which, by the way, they live streamed it on YouTube. So I'm not sure if they're going to be doing that every single time, but that's the way you can watch their content, and it's actually a really smart play.
It wasn't just on YouTube. It was on a couple other mediums as well. You had one of the Facebook channels, and I believe something on Instagram as well. So that was a lot of, I watched it myself, and it, was a couple hours.
Yeah, and I think it was an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, with the little pre-show at the beginning as well. Mm-hmm. And it's cool, but I think a lot of people might have been disappointed by it because it was just sort of an hour and a half of talking and not a lot of anything else. I mean, there was some action there, but it wasn't like they had matches. It wasn't like it was a wrestling show. And I think...
Well, it was supposed to be just an announcement.
I know. Yeah. It's a press conference, and it's it was more like the UFC pressers that they do before the UFC events.
Which was interesting, yeah.
As wrestling fans, there's crossover there, but there isn't 100% crossover. And I think a lot of the people that were disappointed by it didn't know what to expect. And because the other one, the first one, I think was shorter for one.
I think so.
This one went on, and they had a pre-show, and I don't think that much of it was necessary. Yeah. I think maybe it could have been condensed a little bit, and we could have just kind of got everything we needed to get out of the way in an hour, and then got the fuck out, and that would have been better.
As I was watching the show with my wife, we were actually talking about how, I was like, it's kind of interesting to see this organization kind of going through the growing pains because, you're going to see mistakes. You're going to see imperfections. They're not going to be polished like the WWE is. We're used to seeing content on television or on pay-per-views where it's just polished. It seems professionally done. There aren't very many mishaps. But on AEW... I gotta say, for a first-time event, yes, there was some moments where I was like, "Ooh, that didn't go so well."
Yeah,
the microphones,
right. And I think maybe there was a couple different things, but when you think about it, they set this thing up kind of at the seat of their pants. They brought in a production crew that wasn't used to doing a press conference like this in a place they're not used to doing it,
and it was cold that night.
And it was cold in Las Vegas. It was they had them around a pool. It was kind of interesting, but then nobody fell in the pool.
Somebody was saying that.
Why didn't somebody fall in the fucking pool? But I kind of get it. They are trying to be more sports oriented, I guess, but come on, fucking Pentagon came out wearing a goddamn mask and face paint and fucking got a package pile driver on it.
When Pentagon came out, man, holy shit!
But so if you're gonna go that way, it's like, somebody like fucking MJF could have got thrown in the fucking pool at the end or something. Like that would have been kind of neat. But anyway, tell us what we're gonna fucking be talking about today. Go down the fucking list here,
All
man.
right, so we got a special show for you guys. We're gonna be doing our top 5 picks of the roster so far on AEW. Then we're gonna turn over. We're gonna discuss the announcements of the Double or Nothing AEW card. We got quite a good amount of wrestling matches that are gonna be on that show, and I'm actually looking forward to a lot of them. And then we're going to talk about possible signings of new talent AEW may be searching
and
for.
we will practice what so many other professional wrestling fans in the internet wrestling community do. We're going to speculate on the future.
No, we got hard facts here on this show. Only hard facts. CM Punk is actually having a match with I don't know.
Jesus
everyone.
Christ, if I hear another person bring up CM Punk. Well, let's talk about CM Punk then. And just have it be done in the sand, right? Okay. So we've all been talking about CM Punk for how many years? Is he going to come back?
Yeah.
Does he want to come back? Is he ever going to come back? Where is he going to go if he comes back? Is he going to be at fucking All In? Is he going to show up in New Japan? Is he going to show up at fucking Double or Nothing? No! He's never coming back. He's never coming back.
It's going to be awesome when he does, man.
He's never coming
this
back.
This just in. CM Punk.
Shut the fuck
He is the new AEW champion.
Get the fuck out of here. There isn't even an AEW title.
No, there's no title. We haven't seen a title reveal. We're still left in the dark on a lot of what's going on in AEW. But moving forward, let's go over the roster that we have so far.
I thought we were going to do our top 5s first.
Okay, so let's do our top 5s, and then we'll go over the rest of the roster then.
Let's do that.
So, would you like to go first?
I'll go
Dan
first.
Classic.
The first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to do a couple of honorable mentions before I go into my top 5. The first honorable mention I wanted to mention was Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy is a brand spanking new guy. He just recently had his debut at PWG, and he was embraced by that audience, which... Believe it or not, that audience is really hard to fucking impress because they've seen the best goddamn wrestlers in the world, and even guys like Kenny Omega have struggled in front of them at first. And this guy went out there and impressed that audience, and they chanted, "Please come back." And yes, it sounds fucking kind of markish to bring that up, but when you think about that, when you're impressing that audience, that is a microcosm of what that greater sort of new indie pro wrestling audience is. That PWG audience is like sort of the way that everything else is going to go. And if we're going to build on what AEW is, that's the core of that audience. And if they love this guy, then you're going to love this guy when he shows up in AEW. And fun fact, he's Luke Perry's kid.
Whoa.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
What the fuck? I had no idea.
He's Dylan McKay's fucking kid. If you're a fan of 90210, the original 90210, not the
that
reboot
is
series.
Interesting. And now that I think about it, when I saw him, he does look...
Got a little bit.
Yeah.
You know who he looks like, though? He looks like Brian Alvarez.
He does look like
With
Brian
the
Alvarez
hair.
a little, yeah.
He looks a little bit like Brian
You know what's
Alvarez.
crazy? So I wanted to watch his matches just to see where's this buzz coming from. And when I saw his match, I was very impressed with his skills. He's got a lot of talent, but I also like the gimmick.
Yeah.
The gimmick actually sold me on the gimmick.
Right. It's cool. He's like fucking Cavanario.
Yeah. I was like, wow, this is what like Tarzan would look like if he was a wrestler.
It's very cool. It's like it's not like anything else that's out there.
Yeah.
For a lot of time, we've kind of had that swing back into wrestling personas that are more grounded in reality. Guys that are, just like, I'm a wrestler. That's my fucking character. And that works for a lot of guys. Like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, fucking guys like that. What's Samoa Joe's gimmick?
Samoa Joe is a very scary Samoan.
Yeah. He's a bad motherfucker from, Southern California. Like, he's not a bone through the nose fucking jungle savage or some shit. He's just like a tough guy. He's like, it's more like who that guy really is in real life. I mean, I'm sure he's not that big of an asshole. I mean, I've never met him, but like
he's actually like that to everyone.
but that persona is like his gimmick, or if you want to call it that, is that he's a pro wrestler, and that's what a lot of pro wrestling personas have been for a long time now. And I think we're kind of swinging back a little bit, and we'll get a few more guys that have a little bit something more to give, a little bit something more out there. Yeah. And I think there's room for that. Like I don't hate that. I think that's cool.
So you got Jungle Boy.
So Jungle Boy, yeah, he's one of my first like honorable mentions. He's not on the list. I don't think in the grand scheme of things he's super important, but I think it's important to have guys like him.
He's definitely an eyebrow raiser. He definitely is going to make he's going to make some people go, "Wow, that's impressive."
Right. Okay. And so next honorable mention is actually going to be, I was going to say Joey Janela, and I think Joey Janela is important in the grand scheme of professional wrestling. He's put on the Joey Janela Spring Break shows every year and kind of carved out his own section of wrestling and as a promoter. And he's kind of like a mini version of what we're seeing now with Cody and the Young Bucks, but this guy that's like a hardcore wrestler from fucking New Jersey and shit. Yeah. And like he's,
they say Asbury Park he's from?
Yeah. He's like, he's localed out here, and, just like he seems like a real blue collar sort of guy, but he's got this sort of like 80s sleazebag persona thing going on, and he's like a hardcore wrestler, but he's also like just like a straight pro wrestler. I think he's really cool, and I think that in grand scheme of things being important, he's not super important, but like having that mix of different guys on the roster is important, and I think he's going to bring an audience of his own in. I think he's got an audience right now.
He's got me already.
And the people that have been following him for years are going to follow him in. Like he was a guy that I first saw in CZW and doing that wacky stuff. And then I later kind of saw him move on, start promoting his own shit, doing Game Changer Wrestling, and then on to now he's going to be in AEW, and I think that's a really cool thing. Another honorable mention I wanted to mention, speaking of CZW, was MJF. MJF is a guy that's, again, another different sort of style. He's not really known for his skills in the ring, but he is like if anybody on that roster is as close to a WWE style guy, it's him.
Yeah.
He's a guy that is a persona. He is a gimmick. He's always sort of in character. And I think, again, not super important in the grand scheme of things, but it's important to have that mix. Now, let's move on to the top 5 wrestlers that, as far as who's going to be most important and who I think is the best as far as the guys that they've signed and their position in the company. Now,
definitely good pickup.
Number 5 is Chris Jericho.
I agree with that.
Chris Jericho is it's important to have guys with credibility, guys with mainstream notoriety. You don't want too many guys with mainstream notoriety, and you don't want them to be too old.
CM Punk.
There you go. I mean, you know what? If you'd had CM Punk, that might have been a different thing, but we're not mentioning him ever again. He's never coming back.
Yeah. Chick magnet.
Anyway, so Jericho is a strong name for that. He's, in the past couple years, gone to New Japan. He's kind of proven that he doesn't need to be in the WWE to do what he needs to do. He's actually done better. He went from having one of the best years of his career in WWE with the list and Kevin Owens and all that crap to going out and doing even better on his own with the cruise and the run in New Japan, his Intercontinental Champion. He had a win over Naito, had some fantastic matches. He was only there a couple times, but when he was, it was fucking awesome. And having him show up here in AEW kind of lends that credibility and kind of builds that bridge from, if you're a guy that got into New Japan a couple years ago when New Japan World really started picking up steam, then in 2017-ish sort of time, Jericho is one of those guys, those mainstream guys can follow in, and you already know a guy. So here's a friend for you right here. It's like, okay, I know Chris Jericho. So, and he's no slouch either. He's not Hacksaw Jim Duggan or some fucking job guy.
No,
he's a
Jeff Jarrett.
yeah, he's not Jeff Jarrett. Fucking, you bring this guy in, and you know what? And he's not running the company either, like Jeff Jarrett and TNA.
Yeah.
So I think he's important, but he's not as important as the next guy, which is Shima.
Oh shit.
Shima at number 4 for me, because Shima actually represents brand new shit that you've never seen before. And like, you're maybe not that old enough to remember WCW Nitro when the cruiserweights got introduced and what a big deal that was.
Rey Mysterio immediately gravitated, and I think it was him, La Parka, Juventud, Psychosis,
Halloween.
Those are the guys that I was
Silver King.
Yeah. As soon as I saw those guys, I'm in. And
the Villanos.
That's actually how I started liking Chris Jericho, because Chris Jericho was like, well, he looks like kind of like a cool guy.
Right,
and he was talking so much shit to these other guys that I happen to really like. I'm like, who's that guy? And I actually wanted to go back to the Chris Jericho thing you said earlier.
Go ahead.
One of the things that blew me away was when I saw that he was going to wrestle Kenny Omega for the first time over in Japan, and when I watched that match, I was like, I didn't think he had that in him. I definitely, and I feel bad, like Chris, if you're watching, which you're not going to ever see the show, but I definitely was impressed by his abilities. I didn't think that he had one of those types of matches in him.
Did you see the match with Naito at the most recent Wrestle Kingdom?
Yes.
Okay, that to me, it was one of the classic all-time freaking all-out brawls.
Yes.
Like, it was just a brawl, and it was fucking great.
Yeah.
Like, and it fit on that card where it wasn't like anything else, and because that card had a lot of cool different shit going on. And this is what I get from WWE dipshits when they like to argue, and they'll say, well, when the New Japan does a 4-hour pay-per-view, well, then why don't you complain? Well, maybe you should be asking why people don't complain when New Japan does a 4-hour pay-per-view. It's because in the WWE, everybody basically has the same match. Basically.
It's very cookie cutter.
They all do the same moves, the same spots, it's the same bullshit, and the same finish. And you're
same point to the sign.
Yeah, we're gonna point at that goddamn sign, man. Woo-ee! Like, that's the WWE, and you do fucking more than a couple hours of that, and anybody, even the most hardened WWE fan, not gonna have it, man. They're just gonna be bored fucking stiff to watch that. So. With that, this was Jericho in New Japan. He brought something different to their show, and that's important when you're putting on a long ass show. Is that you got to have a lot of variation. You got to have, like, imagine a song that went on for that long. You're gonna have a lot of variation of the notes. You're gonna have a beat change, a tempo change to keep you interested. Yeah. And that's what they really do over there, and I feel like they're kind of taking that into AEW, and like where they're building this roster. When you look at how disparate and how different everybody is, you can really see that. So now on to Shima. The first time I saw him was in 2008 in PWG. This was before they announced Dragon Gate USA, and I was blown away by this guy. Just this fantastic Japanese wrestler, and if you've never seen him, go look him up. You will not be disappointed. Shima's fucking awesome. And he's bringing in guys from China. Guys that we've never seen before.
That's OWE. Right?
OWE, the Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, which I feel super racist saying that.
I know,
right?
but that's the...
You're not supposed to say Oriental.
No. They're saying, fuck it, that's what we are. And
well, there you go.
That's one of the two partnerships, or actually one of the many partnerships that AEW's starting to pretty much...
Right. They've got a lot of different partnerships, and I think we're going to see more of that in the future. These aren't guys that are going to be there all the time, but these are guys that we're going to see from time to time, and this is what I compare it to the cruiserweights in WCW. This, if you've never seen OWE, the Chinese guys, these guys are on a whole other level as far as the acrobatics and the martial arts style. It's something that we've never seen in this country, and I would liken it to Lucha Libre in the 90s before the larger audience really got turned on to guys like Mysterio and Juventud and all those guys as well. Yeah. So this is a guy that's super important because he adds that extra flavor to the pot. And that's so goddamn important, is because when you have companies like the WWE where they want to make everybody fit into a box, and when they want to get everybody's flavor. They want to get everybody's style and have it come together in this melting pot where we can taste all the flavors.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be fucking fantastic. And so we're going to move on to number 3. I'm taking too goddamn long here. We'll move on to number 3.
I can't slow him down though, because he's got a lot of great insight with a lot of the talent that's in AEW right now. Is fairly new or unknown completely to most of the wrestling fans of America. So,
do you see that as a strength?
It's going to be a strength because for me, when I went to ROH for the first time, that was back in I think 2009. I had no idea ROH was a thing. I didn't know much about that organization whatsoever. All I knew is that the guys that were taking me to it were saying it's really good. I'm telling you. As soon as I showed up and watched these guys wrestle, they blew me away, and it was almost like a whiplash effect, where I was stunned. I couldn't understand how these wrestlers are not in WWE in front of our cameras or in our TVs, mesmerizing everybody, but they're not. And so I definitely was shaken to my core by the abilities those wrestlers have. And these wrestlers in AEW are going to be able to do that very same thing, I think, once they find a TV deal.
But they're going to do that for a larger audience.
Yes.
So finally, this thing that's kind of been like the best kept secret of independent wrestling fans in the United States is we're finally going to share this with the larger professional wrestling audience. Yeah. And so many of them have gone that we're going to bring some back. We're going to make some new ones, and that's speculation. Hopefully, this is what happens for this company, because even if you don't like these guys, and even if you don't like the idea of this, maybe you're more of an old school fan, or maybe you more are into things that are more into hardcore shit, or you're into whatever. It's going to be better for everybody in the long run if this is successful.
Yeah.
Because this is going to make WWE better.
It already is starting to, I mean,
they're trying.
They're
giving it a shot.
At least they're showing up now and saying, "Oh, we acknowledge there was a problem."
But I feel like with them, it's been too long since they were doing the right thing and they were on the upward trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely.
That they can't remember as a company how to get back in that direction.
Well,
they can look back 10 years and they were still just kind of slowly eroding down, and it happened so slow. It's like the frog in the frying pan.
Yeah.
It doesn't realize that it's fucking dead until it's fucking on fire. Yeah. So this is what's happening now. The pan's getting hot, and the WWE is trying to figure out how to fucking get out of the pan, and their feet are melted to the goddamn pan.
Interesting analogy, and I like it. I like
frog
the
in
analogy.
Frying pan. The WWE. Now, number 3, when Tony Khan was going to start this company, he wasn't going to start it unless this talent was there. This particular talent was there. It was either these guys go to WWE or they don't, and we start AEW, and that's the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks are that important. Without them, there's no AEW.
Yeah.
And without them there, we aren't having this conversation. We aren't making this podcast. We're not as stoked about professional wrestling in the United States right now. You know what? It was hot anyway. Independent wrestling was getting really hot. In Southern California, it's fucking on fire. I can't believe I moved away right now because PCW, PWG, a little place I used to go to called SoCal Pro, fucking EWF, even in Northern California, you've got a bunch of feds. You've got all these different groups there, and they're all working together, and all these guys are traveling up and down the coast there, and it is fantastic right now in Southern California. I've seen Pentagon so many times. It's crazy. Yeah. I saw last year, I had the greatest wrestling year of my life. I saw the Great Muta. I saw Pentagon a bunch of times. I saw Juventud Guerrero. I saw all these new guys that I was introduced to out there, and big and small guys that Brody King, guys in Ring of Honor now. I saw him in PCW. Guy called Hammerstone, who's fucking awesome. That guy is going somewhere. He has to. He looks like a guy that WWE is going to be after. Fucking Jacob Fatu.
Fucking making a lot of
Jacob
moves,
Fatu is amazing. That guy is so fantastic. I saw that guy take a fucking full-on Joey Janela. I saw Joey Janela. Joey Janela fucking just smashed him in the head with a chair just right in front of me. As close as I am to you. He did it, and I was just like, oh my God. It was so nuts. Yeah. So great to see all these young guys and all these new guys. Like, I love seeing new wrestlers. When I was a kid, my favorite thing is when I was watching Superstars is that when a new guy would come out, they'd play some music you never heard before, and you'd see this guy come down the aisle, and you got to see him for the first time. Who the fuck is it? And then maybe if you were a little bit more knowledgeable, you might have known him from WCW or somewhere else, and you'd be like, oh, that's so-and-so, or that's this guy, or maybe I've never seen this asshole in my life. And that's what we're getting right now. Yeah. So every time somebody comes out of that curtain, maybe you've never even seen him before. Maybe you've only ever read about him or heard about him. Like, that's fantastic. Like, it's not the usual suspects. Whereas for 15 fucking years or more, it's been the usual suspects.
Yeah, it's actually getting annoying at this point to continue to see the same guys over and over and over again. And then when we see a new guy, they just fade to black.
Yeah, he has a little bit of a rise.
We've already started seeing it right now with EC3. He came out. He hasn't even said one word. His gimmick's already over. That's it. He's done.
Right. I'm not going to speculate on the WWE because I don't watch it.
But no, I'm saying, like, as an example of a wrestler who was great, and now all of a sudden, it's a very small window of opportunity. The wrestler shows up, everybody's like, who is this person? They do a couple of amazing spots.
Right.
And guess what? We want more. But if they come out and they don't say anything on a microphone and just sit there, it's over, dead in the water.
They think maybe that's going to do something, or maybe they're just giving him something to do.
Well, let's not go too much into
fuck the WWE. Yeah. Anyway, the Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks. We were talking about the Young Bucks. Do you think that they're the greatest tag team in the world right now?
Well, that was pretty interesting the way they set that up. They were like, come on, guys, you guys think we're the number one. And everybody was saying, you're number one. And then when Pentagon and Phoenix walk out and they said, what the fuck? You guys just said we're number two? Now this is happening. They beat the shit out of it. I was like, all right, I'm in. This is going to be a great match. Make it happen. I wish I could have watched it at that point. I was like, just have a ring.
Well, that's what's called a promo.
Yeah, and I was fucking in.
It was promoted, and now you want to pay money to watch a wrestling match.
Speaking of they did the sign-ups for the pre-sale tickets.
Right.
They received 12,000 signatures so that they could have
the pre-sale
access
opportunities.
To yeah, that's insane.
And there's that place sits 14,000, so it's going to sell out.
It's absolutely going to sell out.
It's going to sell out. I mean, unless everybody that signed that was lying and they're not going to buy tickets.
So my wife signed us up, and she said some of the people that probably signed up are signing up with a group of their own.
Right.
And so I was like,
so 12,000 people. Maybe people are going to try to buy 4 or 6 tickets at a time. So there's not enough tickets to go around.
Yeah,
they can't make that building any bigger.
And apparently they had a mishap with the All In because a lot of people wanted to get there, but they didn't have
the website. The website crashed, whatever.
Yeah.
But
they're learning.
But let's talk about the Young Bucks, though.
Okay, so
do you think that they're the number one tag team in the world?
I mean, I have to agree.
Is that what you're saying? Yes,
absolutely.
Okay.
Their talent is just. I mean, some of the things that they can do in the ring, I'm just like, that's fucking ridiculous. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. That's insane. They're oozing with talent. They're good on the mics. They have amazing chemistry with one another, and they got a lot of star power. Everyone seems to know who the Young Bucks are.
They seem to be natural at being stars in professional wrestling.
They're destined
for guys that are kind of undersized and just kind of plain in a way. They're guys that have made themselves big stars. And I remember I went to a PWG show maybe 11 years ago now, and Nick Jackson wasn't even 18 yet. And he was like, these guys, they were both teenagers pretty much. And I remember meeting them after the show. Me and my buddy went up and said, hey, that was a great match. It was a lot of fun. And they were really cool and really nice. And it was one of the times that I realized meeting these kind of professional wrestlers that don't treat you like an asshole when you go up to fucking talk to them and shake their hand. Like, they don't treat you...
It was really cool seeing them giving autographs and hugging people. It was nice.
And if you ever get to meet these guys, or if you ever have, you'll know they don't treat you like you're beneath them.
No,
they talk to you like you're a human fucking being, or like you're their customer. And
customer's always right.
Well, no, I mean, not even that, but just that you don't have to kiss somebody's ass.
Yeah.
But you can be cordial.
Just be fucking nice.
You can be nice,
Well, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking when they were giving the autographs, I'm like, look at them just giving autographs. You don't see that anymore. And I was thinking, oh, you know why? Because there's fucking money involved. And they're like, no, don't give out your autographs. We can sell them.
Well,
you know what I mean?
They do have situations where those guys, because you'll get these dickheads, because this is the same thing in the fucking. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna plug my show, the Dan Classic Show on YouTube. Go search it after you watch this.
We're gonna have a link in the description.
Cool, yeah. Check the link in the description. Dan Classic Show. I do a lot of talking about action figures and action figure reviews and stuff, and it's good. It's a great show. But anyway, in that world, you have these collectors and resellers. Collectors are cool. Resellers are a bunch of dickheads. No. These are guys that think they're running a business by buying stuff up or figuring out a cheap way to get stuff and then trying to make money on the back end, even though they fucking work at a gas station or something. They think they're fucking like hot shit fucking selling LJN figures or fucking whatever. And in the wrestling thing, it kind of crosses over with these, because I'm a lifelong professional wrestling fan. I can admit it. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to admit it because a lot of professional wrestling fans are just booger-eating morons. And a lot of these guys, they will figure out...
Delicious.
They'll figure out who's on a fucking airplane. They will go to the airport at like 5 in the fucking morning with a stack of fucking 8x10s, all the same, to get signed by the people, these wrestlers that are coming off the fucking airplane. In that situation, they shouldn't have to be nice to these people.
Yeah.
These are a bunch of just
But in actuality, though, they're
pieces of shit.
No, I'm talking about Young Bucks.
Oh, no, yeah.
The Young Bucks are actually good guys.
The Young Bucks are not pieces of shit.
They're not pieces of shit. Please don't kill us. Anyone. So it's funny that you have the Young Bucks at number 3 because that's where I have them as.
Hey,
well.
nice.
We both agree on that.
And they're super important. They could easily be number 1. They could easily be number 1 because
a lot of these guys are
without them we don't have this.
Yeah.
And that's without being the elite, and that's Matt Jackson. Yeah. He's the guy that makes it. Without him, we don't have being the elite. We don't have the elite. We don't have all elite wrestling.
No.
It's we don't have Kenny Omega as we know him as a big star.
Everybody plays their part.
Right.
And they're vital to the the makings of this company.
Right, absolutely. And then number 2 on my list is Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, which I was originally had at number 1, but then I kind of thought about it and I put him at 2. That doesn't make him any less important. No. Kenny Omega is the biggest star in professional wrestling right now. Whether you like him or not, whether you hate the fact that he wrestled a blow-up doll one time, or whether you don't like the fact
he wasn't the only one
that he wrestled a fucking little girl, or fucking like the other shit that he did that makes Jim Cornette fucking have a coronary. Fucking.
Oh, there was the one when he was part of the Golden Lovers. Like I saw them, they would kiss, and I'm like, oh shit, that's I guess you don't see that. They went all. That's like when they did on WWE with Chuck and Billy Gunn.
Oh my God! Don't bring that up.
Except these guys went all the way.
But
and I was like, I like it.
But at any rate, I mean, and that's DDT. That's a completely different thing. Like we're talking about shit that happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and
but I just I thought that was like a cool thing.
It is cool. It is super cool, and we can sit here and speculate on Kenny Omega's sexuality, but
which I'm not doing.
At the end of the day,
if you're single, bro.
At the end of the day, who gives a fuck?
I mean, it
doesn't matter.
I'd go gay for him.
It doesn't matter what who he fucking shares his bed with. What matters to me is what he does in between the fucking ropes, dude. And as far as a fucking professional wrestler, he's the best goddamn wrestler in the world right now. And he's had some of the best matches in the history of goddamn wrestling. Yeah. And a lot of people get upset with that.
Why would they get upset with him being the best?
There is a portion of the sort of wrestling fandom or whatever who is very stuck on Memphis and Crockett and fucking Mid-South and shit like that. And for what it's worth, that stuff is fantastic. And I can't believe that those guys that have so much fucking love for professional wrestling can't see the forest for the trees and see that, yes, that stuff's never coming back. And that style of professional wrestling is never going to come back because we don't have kayfabe and we don't have a bunch of fucking retards that believe it's real, that who are inbred and you know.
I think he's talking about me.
I'm talking about the South. But we don't have that anymore. We don't have that anymore. Whatever. Fucking, you are from New York.
Yes, but they make really good ribs. I really like their barbecue down in the South. So
that's the general.
I just
South.
feel like if we shit on the South, if I show up, they're like, "You're not allowed to have our ribs anymore." I'm like, "No, I didn't say it. He said it. I like you, please."
I don't care about ribs, so.
I love my barbecue. So good.
And it's fine. I'm from the South. I'm from Southern California, right?
Yeah, but California doesn't really count. Come on.
Anyway, I'm talking about professional wrestling, and there's a portion of the audience that is more into old school professional wrestling, and they are like dyed in the wool, almost like a goddamn religion.
Yeah.
How they are about it, and if it's not that. If it doesn't go with that, if it doesn't jive with what Jim Cornette likes, and hey, I'm a Jim Cornette fan. I agree with 90% of what this guy says. But when it comes to the modern stuff, it's like eventually we have to hand it over to the new guy. The new guy has to get it. The new generation has to get it, and the new generation has to go their own way, and the old people are always going to shit on the new stuff. You think the guys from the 1950s fucking liked the stuff from the 1970s that you guys love so much? No. They probably thought that Harley Race was a fucking piece of shit. But that's how it goes. The new generation is going to get shit on by the old generation, and that's what we have here. We have a large group of old school fans that are going to look at this and hope that it fails.
But I think here's the thing, though. I think that those fans can be swayed. And I think
that if you open up your mind a little bit and you kind of look past the things that might bother you, and I agree, like the fucking Joey Ryan dick spot is dumb.
About that, I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you. I think that shit is stupid and weird and not fun to watch. But when I saw my wife pretty much marking out over that, she was like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen." And to see her excited was kind of like, I get it now. That's why that's in there.
There is an appeal, and there are people that like it.
It's funny.
And the people that like it aren't necessarily fucking psychopaths.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it necessarily has a place in AEW.
It's very interesting.
I don't think it has a place in AEW.
I thought it was funny when I
think Joey Ryan himself as a wrestler is good. Like before he was doing the dick spot, he was
dick spot.
He was doing. That's what it's called. It's called
I was just saying. The dick. He was doing the dick spot.
That's what it's called, the dick spot. And so before he was doing the penis suplex or whatever it was,
penis.
He was the king of sleaze. He was the king of the mustache ride. Fucking Joey Ryan, dude. He was bringing sleazy back.
That guy is insane.
That guy as a persona is actually pretty fucking cool. If you take away that one thing that he does that makes everybody upset, he's actually, and I can kind of see objectively.
Promos are really
look
weird.
at him objectively.
Yeah.
And look at him like, oh, okay. So if you take that out of the fucking equation of what he does, he's not one note. That's not the only thing he fucking does.
No.
He's been a wrestler for years. He's been around Southern California forever and a day. And the guy's good. The guy's fucking awesome. He was one of my favorite fucking indie guys back in the day, back in like the mid 2000s. I fucking like this guy. And then there were guys like from XPW and shit like that. He's part of that crew, and I like those guys. And I think from that group, he was one of the most talented guys. And I think if he could show up in AEW at some point and they could tone that, or not tone it down, but turn it off as far as the penis stuff, we can do sleazy stuff, and he can be a hairy, sleazy sleaze bag, and that works for professional wrestling. He's not a bad professional wrestler. So,
all right, so what I'm going to do is
he's a lot better professional wrestler than a lot of these dickheads that fucking don't like the dick spot.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to...
I'm at number one.
Let's do our number one, and then we're going to move on to the
number
next
one is got to be Cody Rhodes, man. Like, without Cody Rhodes sort of spearheading this whole thing, this is what kicked it into high gear. Before Cody Rhodes showed up, this wasn't really a dream of anybody's. But when Cody Rhodes went out on his own and kind of proved himself to everybody, because he was hated. When he showed up in Ring of Honor, when he showed up in TNA, when he showed up the various places that he went when he first left the WWE, he was fucking hated. But he turned that audience and turned the hate into love, and now he's a fucking big star, and everybody likes Cody Rhodes. And I respect the fucking hell out of him, and he knew from the day one that if he worked hard and he kept fucking persevering and pushing forward, that it was going to work out. And I think that he's been the one that's been the main spearhead in this whole thing. Like, the Young Bucks were important to get in because Tony Khan wanted the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And I think the Young Bucks had that dream too. But I think Cody Rhodes was the missing piece that turned it into a reality. And that's why he's number one in my fucking book, why he's the most important player in this whole game right now. Yeah. And it's funny that he's gone from being just sort of this mid-card guy in WWE with the little mustache to being this, really powerful fucking executive in professional wrestling. And I think it's great. I fucking love Cody Rhodes. And it's a personal fucking pick for me too, because he's probably my favorite guy right now. So there it is. That's my top five.
I probably agree with you on... I didn't put Cody Rhodes as number... I didn't even put him in my top five because I thought it would be unfair.
Bullshit!
I didn't want to do it because I'm like, come on, it's like, he's the number one. I got to give the other guys a chance to, like, you know what I mean? But
if I was going to do that, I wouldn't have put the Young Bucks or Kenny in there either.
Yeah. Well, I guess, but those guys, like, are widely known for, like, their wrestling abilities, and Cody Rhodes... I mean, what Cody Rhodes is doing is phenomenal. I personally, myself, I also gravitate towards his story because it is a beautiful story to see somebody who is not being looked at for the talent that he is.
And if you want to see an interesting, documentary about Cody Rhodes, there's a link in the description, is there not?
Oh, yes.
Right down there. Yes. Go check link in the description. Brian here has made a really, really professional, very nice documentary on Cody Rhodes. Like, just go check it out. You won't be disappointed. It's really, really good.